So we all know the story of Easter, right? You know, Jesus dies and then gets resurrected as a bunny that shits colourful eggs. You see how weird this is? Like, it hasn't left my head for weeks. So I think you need to figure out why every year we celebrate and worship pretty eggs and rabbits. And I reckon we should do this in 2 parts. First part rabbits, second part eggs. So, according to half the internet, the Easter bunny actually comes from Eostre, a pagan British spring goddess who had a hare as her patron animal. When Christianity came in, they kind of co-opted her whole celebration, and that's why we have the Easter bunny today. And that was really easy. Okay, so there isn't a problem with the theory per se, but the sources. And we know no one on the internet cites their sources, so I had to do a little bit of digging for this. And the only one that I could actually find was Bede. Now, I'm not shitting on Bede, but I would just like something else. Documentation, archaeology, architecture, anything. But I went and read what he had to say about Eostre, and he doesn't mention anything about a hare or a rabbit, or any sort of patron animal whatsoever, right? And the more I read about what people thought of him, most of them think he just made her up, or she was a very localized goddess to Kent, where he got a lot of his information. She is, however, why we call Easter Easter, or why Germany calls it Ostern, whereas every other European language uses a word from the Passover. But it doesn't change the fact, no rabbits. And that's when I found these two, Easter EG and The Way of the Rabbit. They both have multiple scholars involved, and The Way of the Rabbit is just a book about rabbits, and Easter EG is just trying to do exactly what I'm trying to do. Figure out what the Easter bunny is and where it came from. So in the UK it all started with the Easter fox. Now this guy got replaced in the 16th, 17th century by the Easter hare, which was from Germany. And in Germany this can be tracked around the same time of giving Easter eggs to children. Then in the 19th century, because of hunting, the Easter bunny replaced the Easter hare because hare populations tanked, bunny populations soared. All of this then got exported to places like the US. That's it. That's as far as the trail leads. I can't do any better, scholars can't do any better. The egg, however, is a different story. So it started the same. There's a lot of dumb bullshit theories out there, right? The 2 most prominent ones is that Eostre is actually Ishtar and they both have eggs as symbols. And the other one is that it's a pre-Christian pagan fertility symbol. Now there's no evidence for it being a pre-Christian pagan fertility symbol. There is no evidence for a connection between Eostre and Ishtar, let alone neither of them having eggs as symbols. So where the fuck that came from, I have no idea. Probably people who need to touch grass a little bit. And got introduced to Catholicism officially in the 1600s with the Roman ritual, but the earliest documentation we have of Easter eggs is 1290 from King Edward I of England ordering 450 for his household. Now, there is Christian law, but none of it gives me any clues to go off, anything concrete. Like, for example, Eastern Christianity dye their eggs red because the story goes Mary Magdalene was bringing eggs to the women at Christ's tomb. He resurrected, the eggs turned red, and now they dye them red. Right? But that's it. And in 750 years, it's not bad. It's better than we did with the rabbit, but it was already very established by then. So I started looking into egg decorating cultures that weren't Christianity, and it turns out we've been decorating eggs for a fuck of a long time. The oldest I found were these ostrich eggs from South Africa, which are 65,000 years old. No, this doesn't mean that Easter eggs are 65,000 years old. And no, it doesn't mean that there is a continuous egg decorating tradition that has now landed in Easter eggs. All it means is that eggs and their shells have been incredibly useful to humans for tens of thousands of years. There is, however, 2 egg decorating cultures today that are in the right place and are old enough to have potentially influenced Easter eggs. The first one is Nowruz. It's Persian New Year. Falls on March every year, and in it you have a half-seen table with 7 things starting with the Persian letter S. Apples, coins, vinegar, and not part of the 7 but often included is decorated eggs that symbolize fertility, in this case. Now this tradition is about 2,500 years old, maybe 3, and no one really knows where it came from or why it started. There's also no evidence to show that this directly influenced Easter eggs. The other is Sankey. It's basically Slavic egg decorating. It's done for Easter in Slavic nations and a lot of their diaspora, and it's made using wax. It's got both pagan and Christian designs, but unlike the eggs at the Nora's table, it doesn't represent fertility, it represents protection. So actual eggshells are very delicate unless they're massive, like an ostrich egg. So we don't have any examples of actual eggs being used for tanking from very long ago. But we do have wood and ceramic versions from the Kievan Rus, and some ceramic versions from like 3 to 5000 BC, but there's no evidence to connect those two apart from geographical location. Now again, there is no evidence to suggest that this type of egg decorating influenced Easter eggs. Only that is what's done for Easter eggs in certain nations today. There are many ideas as to why we have Easter eggs, but like many answers in this work, they're just that. Ideas and best guesses. One theory states the connection between lapwings and hares. So lapwings are a family of bird that lay their eggs in the spring and nest on the ground. Hares like to frequent these nests because they're a bit better protected from the elements. When people would go hunting for lapwing eggs, they would often find hares alongside it with fully intact eggs. But the best theory and probably most credible is that they come from Lent. You can't eat eggs during Lent, but chickens don't stop making them, meaning there's plenty to go around for decorating. And this can also be backed up by Lent egg recipes from the 16th century using almond paste or cod roe, which are just our chocolate eggs without access to chocolate. Now, we can guess and estimate all we want, but the truth of the matter is we don't fucking know. And I get it, it's an annoying conclusion to this video, but we don't know where most traditions and customs come from, so you shouldn't be surprised. But yeah, that's it. Goodbye. Don't believe bullshit memes with no source.